Picture this. You're at a college debate tournament and walking into a championship round. You're ready to prepare for some hard-hitting topics like the U.S. federal government should enact a student loan forgiveness plan, or grace, right? Or grace is more important than competition. And the topic is, drumroll please, Chipotle is better than Qdoba. Okay. So you start researching, right? And you come up with points like the effects of salmonella outbreaks, cost-benefit analysis, and that Chipotle's queso is just amazing. If you disagree, we can talk later. But you walk in, debate your round, and find out you lost. You are disappointed, but excited to see the feedback and improve for the next tournament. You pull out your judge's feedback notes, and it says, "You're too aggressive." And that was pretty much the extent of the feedback. My name is Abby Calm, and that is my recurring story. I'm the president of Butler University's speech and debate team and have been debating for about 3 years now. And I remember when I first received comments like those, I cried. I never wanted to make anyone feel uncomfortable or unsafe, and I was pretty close to quitting. It was when I finally shared my feedback with my teammates that all of the women in the room simply nodded and said, "It's a girl thing." What? Apparently, this is a universal experience for women in this activity. I was shocked. After that, I started interning with an organization in the Indianapolis area for women CEOs to network and to get to know each other. And frankly, I had the time of my life. I mean, when else would I get paid to learn from experienced women in my industry? However, there's one message that I heard over and over and over again from many different women. I'll give you one guess. You got it. When they would speak up about raises or give opinions on different things, they were labeled aggressive. In fact, according to a 2016 study done by the Harvard Business Review, they found that 76% of performance reviews that called someone too aggressive were aimed at women. And it isn't just men doing this, women do it to each other as well. Too aggressive. What does that actually mean? Most of us hear that phrase daily, either at Monday night football or Saturday night drinks, but some of us hear it more often than others. And we'll get into that later. But long story short, I didn't quit my college's debate team. And I actually won a national title last spring. Now, I can't tell you how to stop being called aggressive, but I can tell you that there's power in switching your mindset and starting to take it as a compliment. There are 3 messages that I want to tell you about being called aggressive and why it might not be such a bad thing. Message 1, definitions. Something interesting about the English language in general is that there are many definitions to different words, and all of these have different undertones. These are all of the definitions of aggressive from Merriam-Webster. Marked by combative readiness, marked by obtrusive energy and self-assertiveness, marked by driving, forceful energy or initiative, strong or emphatic in effect or intent, growing, developing, or spreading rapidly, more severe, intensive, or comprehensive than usual. Notice how many different definitions there are. Using that word isn't so specific. Now, notice how all of these definitions have a positive aspect to them. Self-assertiveness, initiative, growing, developing. In fact, if you think of the word in the context of anything other than a person at work, it's generally a good thing. That football player is aggressive. That is an eye-catching aggressive color. Because of the stereotyping of women in more passive or caretaking roles, like secretaries or childcare, it's easy to understand how a woman simply voicing her opinion can be taken as unexpected or deviant behavior. And although often coined as a negative, at the end of the day, using the word aggressive means that you are 1, doing your job, 2, taking initiative. And 3, people are noticing the work that you do. In addition to words, we can also look at phrases and their meanings. For instance, the way we talk about confidence. Now, I've got some grown-up words coming up for any of you parents who don't want to disrupt your kids' speech patterns. See what I did there? Now, if we're talking about something that takes a lot of bravery, we'll say, wow, you've got balls. A compliment. It's strong, powerful, and positive. Now, if we're talking about something that maybe makes someone a little scared or nervous, we'll say, oh, come on, stop being such a pussy. Not so much of a compliment. It's weak, scared, negative. Think about the way that those phrases relate to the ideas of gender and confidence. That we've ingrained the idea that your gender tells the story of how strong or powerful you can be. Words have a deeper meaning, and I think it's time we start choosing them wisely. Message 2, data. In 2012, the New York Times cited a study done by researchers at Yale University. They sent 2 duplicate resumes to professors for a technology job position. The only difference? One had the name John at the top, and the other had the name Jennifer. The results told us not only our biases, but the ways it rears its ugly head. John was consistently viewed as more competent, with a score of 4 out of 7. Jennifer was consistently viewed as less competent, with a score of 3.3 out of 7. Even more disheartening is that these scores directly correlated to compensation, with John being offered, on average, $3,500 more than Jennifer. This goes beyond perception. These are real impacts. $3,500 is over 4 months of rent for a studio apartment right here in Danville. Or, after tax, you can buy 3,240 things from the McDonald's dollar menu. Priorities. Message 3, direction. From the Social Science Research Network, in a 2020 study done by AJ Yee and Alessa Nye, they found that female debaters were 30.34% more likely to quit than male debaters. Additionally, they found that in high school doubles debate, teams with 2 women were 17.1% less likely to win, and a team with a woman and a man, 10% less likely. The kicker to this data, though, was that there was no such discrepancy in first-year debaters. Now, why might this be? I pose that it's all about the feedback. If a woman, in her first few years of debating, isn't receiving helpful feedback and continues to lose, we're going to see her continue to drop out of the activity. An activity that promotes critical thinking, research, and innovation skills. But if you don't believe me, ask former debaters like Jimmy Carter, Stephen Colbert, and Oprah Winfrey. But even more important than the loss of skill development would be the loss of the privilege of hearing women's voices. And once again, you'll see the same thing in the workplace. Remember that statistic I cited earlier from the Harvard Business Review? That 76% of performance reviews that called someone too aggressive were aimed at women? Well, it turns out that the men in that study had much more specific feedback. Instead of hearing a phrase like, you're too aggressive, they'd hear something like, you need to deepen your knowledge in the X space. Once you have that understanding, you'll be able to contribute to the design decisions that impact the customer. Because of these things, we have to see that women aren't the only place where people are dropping out. According to a 2022 study by Women in the Workplace, women are dropping out of corporate America at some of the highest rates in years. Some of the reasons cited: equal pay, stress, and burnout. In fact, according to a study done by Bloomberg in April of this year, women CEOs in S&P 500 companies just now outnumber the number of CEOs named John. To me, the reason for this is obvious. Women work just as hard, if not harder than their male counterparts, just to be told that they have to fundamentally change who they are instead of their work habits. And eventually, they give up. The biggest reason I didn't quit my debate team was because of my teammates. They told me that it wasn't just me and I wasn't alone. Now, don't get me wrong. I make a lot of mistakes while debating, and most of my judging comments are valid. I still talk too much, make bad arguments, and make one of the strongholds of my case, I think their case it was better. But the most important part is I get the chance to learn and to grow and to keep trying to be better. I truly believe that if we can start listening to what a woman is saying and stop picking apart her tone, if we can stop using phrases that put women down, if we can take back the word aggressive, we will see more women as CEOs. I believe that we can outnumber James, Johns, and Roberts, who currently hold 59 spots, to all of women's 41. I started with some comments from my judges, so that's how I'll end today. This is from our college debate tournament this past spring. You are such a powerful and dynamic speaker. You needed a bit more structure in your first speech, but you are a force. Don't let him shake you. I lost that round. Don't clap! I lost that round. But I think this is a phrase that any woman needs to hear. You are strong, and you are powerful. And yes, you have a long way to go. But don't let comments like these shake you. Thank you.